Hello there, and welcome. If you'd like to take a seat, I'll be with you in just a moment. Hold the phone. Why don't you take a seat? Let me put this down. What do you got going on here? Interesting. Have your ears always been like that? Okay, so we had a general exam for you, but I think we're going to reschedule that if you don't mind. Yeah, let's just jot that down. And instead, I want to take a look at these. These meaning your ears. Yeah, let's just get into that. See my ear, just the furling and unfurling of my measuring tape here, and I'm not touching just yet. A perfect 3-inch pinnae there, from the top of the auricle down to the lobe. Okay, so in a length 3 inches. What about the other side? Let's just get right about here. And that's the same. What about our width here? That's 1.5. 1.5. Wow, okay. So we've got something real special going on here. And I think we need to explore this a little bit. So the width of the pinnae, 1.5 inches. I'd really like to do a bit of exploratory palpation, if you don't mind. So, if I were to start, I don't even know where to start here. I guess we can just jump right in. So, let's start here. And just gently poke around. So, we have the pre-auricular area here, post-auricular, behind the ears. We need to get a little deeper into this. So, we have pre-auricular area on each side. That is clear, and the preauricular lymph nodes are not distended at all. And behind the ears, there's also no distension here. So let's take a feel of that mastoid process a bit. Good. The other side here. Any tenderness here at all? No? Okay. Good. Do let me know if at any point there is. I don't want to do any damage to these ears whatsoever. And we have a perfectly rounded helix on each side. And a fleshy, detached, no, semi-attached lobule here. Just right in here. The tragus is small and inflexible. The antitragus has good ridging. And our triangular fossa here, let's just do a little feel in here. All good here. Okay. Good. Just hooking my fingers in, following along to the concha. Good. Okay. And the antitragus here is more on the rigid side as well, so wow, alright. I've got to say, I have not seen ears like yours for a long time. So I'd like to do a little bit more exploring, if you don't mind. Okay. I just want to see everything we're working with here. Overall, the cartilage is rather flexible. I'm going to do some stretch tests here. Let's pull up. Good. Backwards. Okay. Let's pull forwards here. Excellent flexibility. And let's pull down. Good. And on the lobe, much less flexibility, which is a bit of an oddity. See, if we look at my ear, for example, we have a great amount of flexibility in the top of the pinna, but also the lobe as well. Yours, however, is a bit of a different story. Alright. So I do wonder why everything here is so rigid. So I'm just going to place my hand over the ears here for a few moments. I'm just kind of seeing the ears tend to be rather sensitive to temperature. They often get very hot or very cold. They're thin structures that are exposed to the elements much more than other structures. At least most noses, for example, tend to have thicker walls, thicker cartilage. just heating up the ears and then feeling where temperature generally is most notably different. And again, I just want to see where we're at with the lobe as well. So the cartilage here is quite warm, and the lobe is more the same temperature as the surrounding area. So our helix has a great temperature discrepancy. Now, I do want to get a look inside the ears here rather shortly, but I think there's a few more measurements I can do here, so I could just have you stay still. Okay, so from the antitragus to the bottom, 1 inch, you have rather true ears. Yes, that's rather true and very symmetrical. The top of the tragus, the bottom of the tragus, 1 inch. Yes, this is. Have you ever thought about being an ear model by any chance? Have you ever heard of them? Yes, there are tympanic membrane models. Let's just take a look at that's 1.5, the lobe 1. Tympanic membrane models and ear models. I haven't gotten a look yet at the membrane, but I can make an educated guess. And I think we better get this down. Before I am too enthralled. So we had the entire body of the tragus bilaterally, the lobe with 1 inch and the helix with 1.5 inches. Yeah, I mean, the tops of the ears are symmetrical, the bottom of the ear is symmetrical. It's a mighty fine pair of ears you have. Let's take a little look inside. Alright, so let me reposition a bit, and then I'm just going to look externally to start, and just see if there's anything we didn't catch, because I might be using this time to really study the ears. But while we're here, we want to make sure there's nothing going on, because you, my friend, these ears should be on this earth and available to study for a long, long time. So why don't we take a little peek here? So I'm going to pull up and back, and then there's Otoscope there. So I'm just going to there. Alright, Yeah, I think if you wanted to dip your toes into the world of ear modeling or tympanic membrane modeling, I think that you definitely could go either way. Whatever suits your fancy. Let's just right here. And then there we are. So we want to look for a few things here. I did see the cone of light on both tympanic membranes here and the tip of the malleus, because the tympanic membrane is a little bit translucent there. And we want the ear canal to be clear, of normal coloring, you know, just the usual stuff here. And everything looks clear. No redness. No signs of injury. Not even seeing a little wisp of cotton, which is good. We're not putting cotton buds inside the ear, especially not past that little area of hairs. So, what do we have here? We have a rather symmetrical ear in pretty much about every way we can measure. We have clear ear canals, we have our landmarks. So I think what I want to do here, so we're going to do a little bit of a deeper investigation. So I'm just going to just keep this here at the external auditory meatus, and we're going to just slowly catalog what you've got going on. So what do we have at the beginning here? Right, so the walls look just fine here. Look great. And then the other side here. Excellent. Yes, we have those little hairs there, and there's nothing past that. Need to persuade the otoscope to give us a good amount of light here. Of course, when I get myself the opportunity for a perfect pair of ears, is when we want to act up. We'll just do what we can here. And then let's see. Okay. Now is where we might want to get a little further here. So I'm going to be just going back in. And then we'll see what we've got, what we're working with here. And okay. So our ear canal tends to be fairly short, about 3 centimeters in length in total there. then just stay still. There we are. And let's do that for the other side here. So pull up it back. And then there we go. Okay. So we've only got a couple centimeters worth really with the speculum there to see if there's anything out of the ordinary. Because you have some pretty fine ears here. I don't see that really being an issue. Our tympanic membrane, crinkle or contour. No bulging, that's very important there. Everything looks great. Do you happen to have any issues with hearing at all? No. Okay. So I have some items that I'd like to test a little bit with you. I'm not going to tell you what they are to start, but I'm just going to have you describe what you think it is you hear. What side is this coming from? Left. And what does it sound like? Crinkly, crunchy, scratchy, anything else? Let's try this again on this side and see if there's anything else to glean from it. Material, maybe. Okay, well, let's just do a little side. Anything you can get on both sides. This is a ribbon made of a crunchy, crackly, scratchy type of fabric. Yeah, that one clear. What about something like this? What do you get from this sound? Some kind of percussive sound. change a little bit. What do we think? That sound is. Sort of hard rubber here. A little bit of metal. We have a reflex hammer here. And so about maybe this sound. What do your ears pick up about the sound? What kind of qualities do you hear? Metallic, twinkling, tinkling, jingling. It's a pretty distinctive sound. Little bells here. Bells on the left, bells on the right. Left, right. Just gently put these guys down, and then got another item here. This one will be more difficult to parse out, but I'm sure with your ears, you'll at least get fairly close. What do we have here? Tapping on what kind of material here? Not wood, not metal, plastic. Plastic here. We also have this sort of slight sliding sound here. Head on this side and just sliding back and forth here. Won't make you wait rather too long. We have a goniometer, hard plastic. And that is used for measuring angles of joints, has its own little rulers, the number of degrees. Right along here. And then let's try one last one. I think we'll use this. little different. Using a different technique for the tapping. What do we have here? Run my fingers across that. And use my nails. And I prefer a flat-fingered approach. Use of pine wood. Pine wood. So, your ears were excellent at hearing the different little tones and bits from each sound. So, let's see if maybe we can do just a little bit more investigating here. So, to get into the other little structures of the ear, we're going to need something that's a little more. It's okay. Quarter of an inch there. Something that's easier to maneuver rather than my rather thick fingers here. For the width of our antitragus. And we find the same right here. Perfect. Perfect. That's excellent. And if we get this off, no, that's not quite it. So, about right in here. Little too much. Little too much there. About here. That's maybe just a bit more. Just like that. That's perfect. So what do we have here? We landed up with our 1/4 of an inch, just like right in here. So everything tends to be pretty darn symmetrical. And let's see, just want to get this little ridge here, and okay, it also matches up all the way down here. That anti-helix line is the same. Okay. I think I just want to have a little poke around. See what we're working with here. If there's anything further, I'm just going to be stroking around the ears. Now I'm looking more texture differences. We've established that everything is pretty darn symmetrical. So using the same texture. So let's just go ahead and look behind the ear here. And back of the ear here. It's the same here as the other side. The same as right in here. Along the helix of each ear. We'll go down to pretty regular areas. I don't know if you know just how awesome these ears of yours are that you have. You just groom yourself, didn't you? I think I'm gonna have to get your contact information if you don't mind. I'd love to study these a bit further. I wish we had more time. But this was supposed to be a general exam, so didn't quite book in the right amount of time here. Just want to get everybody just like this. No skin abnormalities, everything is clear, not even so much as a freckle. Nothing behind each ear. No. Good. What are we gonna do with you? We're just going to have to some point do more testing. I'm just going to rest the ears back here. Still fascinated by that flexibility here in the helix and the rigidity of the lobe. Just want to feel how far does that go down here. Okay, so right at the level of the antitragus there. So right in here, I do feel that actually. I feel that bit. So where these two meet is the cartilage, and then we begin a thick and rigid type of flesh here. Interesting. I really wonder what's so different about that flesh and one that can do things like this. It's quite odd. Good. Well, I suppose if I were given the chance, I would probably be here all day, just hanging out with these ears. But I imagine imagine you have some things to do, most likely. And I wouldn't want you to be kept from them on the off chance that then I would be kept away from these ears. But I just... the proportion and the contour, the texture, everything is what I would ideally love to work with. This is not something we see very often at all. And just on the off chance you were coming into my office for a preliminary physical exam. So, I got very lucky indeed here. Well, let me just see that I've got everything that I'd like to start with. We have our lengthening of the pinnae, the helix, tragus, lobe, width, and length, and I think, yeah, we did our bit of hearing testing. I think that is an awfully good start. So I'd like to thank you so much for allowing me to hijack this appointment to marvel at these architectural wonders you have here on the sides of your head. So, thank you so much for coming into my office. This absolutely has made my week. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you. You better get these things out of here before I start